It's AEW Revolution 2022 Day, and we have a huge update on two imminent arrivals to All Elite Wrestling. All this and more in today's AEW News. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. And as I mentioned before, it is AEW Revolution 2022 Day. AEW Revolution will be taking place tonight live on pay-per-view. And you don't have to go anywhere because we're going to be doing an AEW Revolution watch-along and post-show tonight live here on the channel. So with all that being said, there are a couple of big AEW news stories that have broken over the course of the last 12 hours or so, and in regards to major incomings to AEW in the very near future. Now, if you don't want to be spoiled, because we might have some spoilers here, then feel free to click off the video. I'll give you a few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's get into the first one. And the first is the impending arrival of former NXT North American champion Isaiah Swerve Scott, now known as Swerve the Realist, is set to arrive in AEW very imminently. Now, it's not too much of a spoiler, of course, because everyone knows this is going to happen. But Swerve, formerly known as Hit Row's Swerve Scott, has officially signed with All Elite Wrestling per a report from Fightful Select. Last week, it was reported by Fightful that the deal was as good as done and he'd be coming into the company after his non-compete clause expired. AEW reportedly went out of their way to keep it a secret, haven't gone out the way rather to keep it a secret. He was at the AEW concert on Saturday night in Orlando, of course the site of AEW Revolution. Quite a few former Hit Row members were actually there as well. AJ Francis, I believe, was also there as part of that concert, and a song that repeatedly mentioned him was played. So, but the thing is, it's been widely reported, so it's not much of a secret anyway. Now, Swerve also does live in Orlando. Of course, that's where a lot of WWE superstars, NXT stars, and former WWE superstars are based in Orlando due to the proximity to the Performance Center. So again, he was in town, he signed with AEW, so he was at the concert last night, and he's going to be featured on AEW television going forward. Now, when it comes to plans, beyond that, Fightful have been told that the plan as of Saturday was to debut Swerve imminently, that's a quote, imminently, with the idea, as of then, for him to debut at AEW Revolution. However, despite the heavy speculation, they have not been told as to in what capacity the debut was planned. As with anything in wrestling, of course, it's subject to change. But as to what his debut could consist of tonight at Revolution, I mean, it could be anything. I mean, really, it could be anything. I know the face of the Revolution ladder match is booked out, but who's to say that he's not added into that at the last minute? You've also got people like Jay Lethal. Remember when he debuted for AEW at Full Gear in November? Tony Schiavone just brought him out. Just went, ladies and gentlemen, the latest signing to AEW is Jay Lethal. And out came Jay Lethal and he had an interview. So who's to say that Swerve won't be doing that either? He could be doing a lot of things. He could be wrestling. He could be part of just a confrontation segment. He could be getting involved in a match. He could be costing someone a match, interfering in a match. He could be coming out for an interview. He could be doing anything. So I don't think we particularly know exactly what he's going to be doing for AEW tonight. All that we know is that Swerve has indeed officially signed a contract with AEW. And again, it's not too much of a surprise, considering, again, it was widely reported that he was going to be coming into AEW. AEW reportedly really wanted him. They see a lot of crossover appeal with him. And I think that him being at that concert last night is what they see for him as well. Of course, for the Hit Row gimmick was a rap gimmick as well, and they were creating songs. There was rumors about them putting out an album, and I'm sure that'll probably continue. He spoke after leaving WWE that he had multiple outside projects, beyond wrestling that he wanted to do too, and I'm sure music is one of them. And given that AEW is part of the Warner Media family, and of course they've got record labels, etc., they could definitely do something there. So that's the crossover appeal they certainly have. They think they have with Swerve Scott. So he's going to be coming into AEW imminently, and I would suspect, like the report says, that he's going to be arriving on Revolution tonight, because Revolution is going to be a huge, noteworthy show. They only have 4 pay-per-views per year, AEW. This is the first of 2022, and they want to start off with a bang, unlike last year when they were meant to have a bang at the end of the Revolution pay-per-view, and it very much flopped. So they're going to load up this show, and one of the surprises, it looks like, is going to be Isaiah Swerve Scott, or now known as Swerve the Realist. Now, another impending AEW debut is is former WWE superstar, former WWE champion, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, that being Jeff Hardy. Now, Jeff Hardy isn't going to be at Revolution tonight. Legally, he's not able to. But Jeff Hardy will be All Elite soon, of course, in the least surprising news story ever. Fightful have also learned, and it's been reported by Fightful Select last night, that Jeff Hardy is slated to be at this coming Wednesday's AEW Dynamite on TBS. Now, they're not sure, or they haven't confirmed right now, if he's going to be appearing on the program during the broadcast on TBS, or if he's going to be just backstage, milling around, meeting people, etc. But Jeff Hardy is slated to be at Dynamite on Wednesday. Now, of course, Hardy, who is a former WWE World Champion, former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, drew interest from AEW after his WWE release, which of course took place last year. Hardy has already confirmed it as much as himself in that video where he said that he was going to AEW and then he had to backtrack because he doesn't want to get sued, or AEW doesn't want to get sued, even though there were some stories saying that WWE were looking at legal options, stuff like that. Realistically, what can they do? They can't prove a lot, and WWE is no saint when it comes to that either, and I think AEW knows that, frankly. Nobody wants to get involved in litigation, and WWE could, and sometimes they tie people up in lawsuits because they can, financially, but ultimately AEW would have to say to him, you've got history, you've got precedent as well. And it's not a case of two wrongs make a right, but it's, how far down the rabbit hole do we really want to go with this one? So I don't think anything's going to happen there. Fightful has been also told that the working plan has been to bring him in fairly quickly after AEW was assured and reassured that there was no substance issues that led to his WWE departure. That was the theme, wasn't it, at the time, is that his bizarre behavior, which of course AEW has referenced when it comes to Matt Hardy on television recently, his bizarre behavior in that six-man tag team match, leaving mid-match, walking through the crowd, people assumed he was off the wagon and that he was back either on substances or he was intoxicated, but that wasn't necessarily the case, and it doesn't look to be the case, and WWE told Jeff Hardy he had to go to rehab. Jeff Hardy said, I don't need to go to rehab because I'm not on substances, and they released him. Now, Fightful sources are saying that their sources have backed up the Hardy family's claims that Jeff Hardy passed both a breathalyzer and a drug test, the latter of which they were told, quote, wasn't conducted on the spot, meaning that this drug test would have tested for things in his system for the past 7, 14, however long these things stay in your system for, and I would have assumed it was quite an extensive one as well. Now, before the drug test results came back, WWE offered Jeff Hardy rehab, in which he declined, which led to his release. However, the issue is that Jeff Hardy declined rehab, they released him, but then the drug test results came back, and of course the breathalyzer results would have been done on the night, and everything came back negative. So they found out actually he was just behaving weirdly, and he wasn't on any substances, and that's a bit of a problem. Since then, of course, WWE has made an effort to bring Jeff Hardy back to the company, offering him a Hall of Fame induction, which he and Matt Hardy have openly discussed. There were multiple WWE superstars that Fightful spoke to that also insisted that Jeff Hardy was not on any substance during the match and he just had, quote, an off night. One source in WWE did admit to Fightful that the company, quote, jumped the gun on Jeff Hardy's release. It was confirmed what many people already knew and assumed, that Matt Hardy leaving Private Party on the Wednesday, February 9 episode of Dynamite was to start the fracture and lead to an eventual storyline which will see Matt team up with his brother Jeff and leave behind the Hardy family office, considering Andrade's part of that now. The manner in which Matt Hardy left the team was the direct response to how Jeff Hardy's final WWE match went and how it was received online. Fightful are also reporting to expect something out of Revolution to set the stage for this fracture even further. So we're going to see something tonight. Of course, we know that six-man tag team match is happening tonight that Matt and Isaiah Cassidy are involved in, so expect something to happen there, which will then lead to Wednesday, which will then lead to the debut of Jeff Hardy in AEW. And look, like I said before, if as long as that could be proven that Jeff was not on any substances and is not back, off the wagon rather, then it's a big pickup, and everyone wants to see the Hardys back together at these latter stages in their career. I think that's really all that's left for them to do. Be a team. Be a team again. Be the broken Hardys. The broken Matt Hardy gimmick did not work in AEW. He says it was because of the fans not being there, which is probably fair, but also it was tired at that point. It was really popular in 2015, 2016. Of course, he wasn't able to do it in WWE. Then he did the Woken version, which was a watered-down WWE version, which people didn't like. But people like the whole universe. They like the broken universe. And Brother Nero is a part of that. And I suspect, and I might be wrong, But Jeff Hardy coming into AEW, I think we're going to see the broken version of the Hardys. I don't think we're going to see the Hardy Boys Team Extreme. We saw that in WWE when they came back in 2017, and that was fine. But that's done, and I don't think people want to see that again. I do think people want to see the broken Hardys, and I think they want to see them face off against, the Young Bucks again, and FTR, a different version of FTR, and Red Dragon, and the Lucha Brothers. I mean, there are so many teams that they can face off against that it's going to be really exciting to see. So, of course, look, Jeff Hardy isn't going to be there tonight. He can't. But Wednesday looks like he's going to be on Dynamite. But what are your thoughts on today's AEW news stories? Let me know your thoughts on today's AEW news in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestling News 365. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.